Hey, welcome back to our review of every modern Star Wars figure and some house cleaning first, because, as I've said, we like to do the exact release order, and last time we talked about Luke with his land speeder. Well, before we get to the next classic trilogy figures, time to hit a couple more Star Tours figures, and I'm just going to go over these briefly, not dedicate the whole video to them. These came out periodically throughout kind of the Attack of the Clones time, and they weren't available at retail. They were only sold at Disneyland, but they were in retail packaging, which is, always weird. Now, the second wave of Star Tours characters were kind of they were more taken from Florida than Anaheim, which meant I didn't have as much connection to them because I've never been to the Florida park still. But there's also some interesting things about the droids that were picked up both to be placed in the ride and made as figures. The first one being this DX droid, which was from Hill Street Blues. Yes, literally a leftover prop that was sitting around a Hollywood warehouse and got picked up, dropped into Star Tours, and therefore became a Star Tours action figure. Crazy. So, hey, you can work out all your Hill Street Blues play patterns. The next one, and this was one of the weirder of the Star Tours droids, does it look like a Star Wars droid? I feel like now that they're picking up props and just dropping them into the ride, they're not as Star Warsian. I don't know. You tell me. I mean, here he is in, I guess maybe it's got that, like, Jabba's Palace droid thing going a little bit. Either way, Wedge 1618, Weg, W-E-G, I don't know, however you're going to pronounce it. He's a droid. He doesn't fit in my little bin. I had to take his head off. Pops off just to get him to fit in the bin. He's too tall. He's one of the tallest figures. All right, now we get an astromech droid, and this one's interesting because it is the same name as an astromech droid that we all have, or at least are aware of. This guy, the one who was, I don't know, first I thought he was a rebel, but I guess then he was an Imperial. Anyway, either way, R4M9 has been remade as a Star Tours droid in different colors and in a brighter blue because that's the colors he was painted in the line in the Florida queue. So, boom, 3 more Star Tours characters. All right, now let's get back to the classic trilogy and the Cantina. Obviously, something that fans have wanted to recreate in toy form from day one, and it's had its ups and downs, especially as far as a play environment. Aside from the vintage playset, we did get a few modern iterations of a playset, including a flat ground with a background cardboard, and then an entire cardboard set that came with a Stormtrooper a few years later. So neither one quite a Cantina playset, all involving cardboard of some type. I think really the most modern plastic version is the Navarro Cantina. I wish they would do a Mos Eisley version of that. I mean, we need a place to put all of our awesome Cantina action figures. They need a home, man. Why won't they have a home, Hasbro? Don't make me do Billy Madison impersonations. Okay, well, the first time we actually got a physical piece of the Cantina was, well, as we're going in order of release, we are at now. What's happening now is now. When will then be now? Soon. But now, in terms of collecting, means this set of 3 A New Hope-inspired Cantina bar sections released during the Saga collection era at Walmart, and they could click together to form essentially one side of the Cantina bar. Great, awesome, looks cool, looks like everyone's going to be happy, except for those of us who actually know what the Cantina looks like. I'm going to get to that towards the end. But as far as the figures that came with this, is this a time to celebrate? They're slight upgrades in a way to the original carded release. No original figures here, but they are different enough to make you rebuy them, getting things like leg articulation on Ponda Baba, corrected colors on Momo Nadone and Greedo, as well as a whole bunch of, drinks and glasses and stools and bar sections. Which one doesn't belong? We'll talk about that in a moment. All right. Now, there was a second series of these put out where we got more characters and, again, repaints and slight kit bashes. This time, Wuthar didn't have the glass sculpted into his hand, but we'll get to the second set in a little bit because, again, we're going in release order, but this was basically the same as the first set, just different characters. But hey, why not release it a third time and now do it as a 3-pack instead of singles, and also release it at Walmart. Walmart seemed to love these Cantina sets. So yes, we got the little bar sections offered many, many ways, but the first way was with this 3-pack. and you could cut out the little cardboard section on the back and pop it in and try to find IG-88's head, which was used as a drink dispenser. They really should make a joke about that in Mandalorian, about how his head like also dispenses like Coca-Cola or something. I don't know, that would be really funny. So what's the issue that that so many people have with this set? Well, you notice when everyone's sitting on there, those little round things in the package? Okay, let's put a pin in that for a moment. Let's look at the figures real quick and just identify the fact of whether these were unique enough characters to rebuy. So Greedo here gets a new paint job compared to the not flash forward, the flashback. Actually, no, it was the Comtech. Excuse me, this was a Comtech figure when originally released. And the colors are much more movie accurate. The Comtech one had a more muted yellow, and the brighter orange is actually more accurate. Although I don't think he had those orange booties. I think his boots were supposed to be brown, but hey. Now, Ponda Baba gets bendable, knees, which is great because, if you want him to sit, even though he never once sits, but we'll get into that in a moment. Of course, Ponda Baba got a complete resculpt in the vintage era, which put this and the original Power of the Force 2 release totally out of, made them better obsolete. And then Momo Nadone, everyone's favorite hammerhead action figure, while he also got a resculpt this time during the Saga era, kind of right in the middle of the line. This would be a repaint of the existing Power of the Force 2 tool, which again would have a more accurate vest that would get sculpted. So he did have a little bit of tooling there to make him slightly more accurate. And while not the cutest Momo Nadone never done, at least we were on our way to being more screen accurate. So there you go, 3 figures, 3 bar sections, slight updates to their original carded version, and released at this exact moment in the line. All right, now what about those bar sections that I've been kind of dancing around? So while the stool color changed during subsequent re-releases in those other singles and 3-packs, that's actually the problem. There's no seats, people. The Cantina bar doesn't have stools. It never has. It never will. So I always kind of got confused as why these sections, even the curved section that came with some single-carded figures after fan demand to complete the bar, were released, which I'm glad they were, and I do use this bar in my setup. But the thing is, every bar section, whether it's the flat front or back, or the curved section, and whether the bar stools were brown or tan, and yes, I do use them and seat characters at my bar, knowing and admitting that this is completely screen inaccurate. There are no stools in the bar. Nobody sits. I mean, there's people sitting in the the alcoves and on the tables. But as far as sitting across the bar and ordering drinks, go ahead, go watch A New Hope. Scan every single moment of the cantina scene there, and you will see everyone is just standing around the bar ordering. Oh, look, there's IG-88's head dispensing blue milk. See, I told you it was in there. So yeah, whether you're looking at wide shots, close shots, black and white images, behind the scenes, or actual footage of the movie, there is not a single stool at the bar anywhere. So why they included stools? Play value, I guess, maybe just to have a larger, perceived value for parents. So yeah, you could have a lot of fun with your bar, but it's not accurate. Although you can remove them. So hey, I guess there's a golden lining to every bar stool everywhere. So there you go, the Cantina bar section, complete with inaccurate stools and slightly updated figures that are going to make you buy them just because they're just different enough from the original release. But hey, march of progress. And it is great to see that they're not resting on their laurels and figures are getting better paint jobs and better accessories as time goes.